So you guys can experience this in real time with me. What is your name?
Sasha Sogolow.
Sogolow.
It's spelled more complicated than it actually is, just Sogolow.
Okay, right. Sasha Sogolow. Well, welcome. We're still here, day 2, AIM Expo, and I am with Sasha Sogolow.
What's up?
What's up? And I saw you yesterday. We met. You are serving a very important role here at AIM Expo. What are you doing? Give our friends at home an introduction to who you are and a little bit of a background.
Oh, man. We could go down a big rabbit hole here if we wanted
shit.
to. But
okay.
anyways, we met because I was walking by with a gigantic camera in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
We call them gimbals.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, hey, what are you shooting? And I look over my shoulder, and that's how we met.
That's it.
So I'm here filming for the expo. It's,
Yep.
I think, my 4th or 5th year here, and just trying to capture all the good vibes and, like, make sure that they have some great content to kick out after the show's over.
And that's what, if you've been to a convention, you know, obviously the recap and then distribution of all the assets is so valuable because that's what brings you back. That's what, you know, brings the dollars. You know, what we do, I feel, is a very important piece because we create, like, the aesthetic. We're the ones that decide how it looks.
That's right. I mean, I think we do a pretty good job of, like, giving the general vibe of what it actually is like, but of course some editing magic, we spice it up. So like for us, what we do is we try to kick out an edit after, like right after the expo, and do like a recap.
Yep.
And then 6 months down the road or whatever, we have another video that sort of is like the sales pitch of like, hey, we're gonna be back again.
Anaheim, guys.
Anaheim.
Yeah.
Big moves.
Big moves.
Where
are you based?
I'm in Oceanside, California. Okay. Yeah, so it's actually a lot nicer commute for me. It's about an hour from my house, and it's pretty sick because they're gonna do it. The whole idea was to do it right before Anaheim 1, which is like the big kickoff to Supercross every year. So I think
perfect timing.
Should be a pretty good move for them.
Yeah. Well, then tell us what your company is. So you are Sogolow here, but you're not alone.
Right. Yeah. I own a production company based out of San Diego, along with 3 of my partners, Vlad, Chris, and Brian, called Drive Media. Mm-hmm. And we have been shooting off-road motorsports for well over 10 years. I was in film school in San Diego trying to find an internship, and then Recoil 1, if you're familiar with BJ Baldwin, he jumps over a GTR in his trophy truck, had dropped while I was looking for an internship, and I went and found the production company, saw that they were 30 minutes from my house, and then I just like hit them up, showed up.
Knock on the door. Hey.
Hey, can I like work for free, like wash dishes and like do whatever? I'm just
welcome.
like trying to like.
Welcome.
Well, I grew up in Glamis. Like the off-road industry is like my passion, right? And so when that video dropped, it was like this connection that was wild, where it's like, holy cow, like I can be a filmmaker and I can do cool stuff with cars and trucks. Like this is it. And then they brought me on. I interned for like a year as I was graduating college, and then long story short, I've just been with them ever since.
Yeah.
It's been I think 10 years or 11 years for me now.
Well, and every different industry has, you know, there's shooters for all things, but you got to know your craft, and you got to be familiar. Like, you know, when you're behind the camera, you may not be the one driving the truck, but you got to know what that truck's going to do
100%
to shoot it right. And so it's just interesting with all the different, you know, guys in our community, the artistry that goes into it, but it's just such a specific technical thing that's actually happening, because you got to be so dick deep in what it is you're shooting.
Absolutely. Like if you don't have an understanding of, you know, just traction, for example, like dirt to pavement or vice versa, and you don't know what that car is going to do, like you could end up in a pretty bad spot, especially like our company sort of got its start chasing the races down in Baja, and like it's super sketchy down there. You're just kind of on your own. You're driving down these 2-lane roads. There are potholes everywhere, and then you just end up in the middle of the desert somewhere. And so, like,
what production car are you cruising around and trying to keep up with? The rental?
Yeah, well, don't tell the rental companies.
Get the insurance.
Yeah. We may have come back with some Baja pinstripes on some rental cars once or twice. No, we have some company trucks that we try to keep, you know, put the nice shocks on them, and, you know, the nice tires, and try to keep up. But they're mainly our personal vehicles, honestly.
Yeah.
So.
What type of rigs are you running when you're shooting the Baja stuff? Like, you know, obviously the technology is always advancing. What's your like go-to rig?
Well, our company was sort of like in at the right time, at the right place when Red Digital Cinema came out with their, like, I know we had a Red 1, and then the Red Epic came out, and then that Red Epic was sort of like the game changer for us, because it was, you know, relatively affordable, and then it shot these really high frame rates, like, 96 frames a second, 120 frames a second. So that was like perfect for action sports. Plus they're really robust. Like they take a beating. And so that, honestly, like, the interesting part about it is the technology in a way was a big factor on how we got our start, because if the guys at the time it was called Tempt Media, now we're Drive, if the guys over at Tempt didn't invest into this equipment that could go handle those elements, who knows where we would be at right now, you know what I mean? And so it's interesting. So like, I personally am sort of known for operating that gimbal that I was talking about, and that's another interesting thing is, like, at the time, that gimbal was, like, brand new on the market. Freefly I think it was an M5 or an M10 at the time, and I was interning with those guys, and it's kind of this heavy thing.
You're like, you look like you work out.
Yeah, and I was in the best shape of my life. I'm like 22, fresh in college, working out every day, and so I'm like, here, let me try that thing, and I'm just like doing sprints with these mountain bike guys, and they're like, oh man,
don't
like,
worry.
these shots are pretty sick. Like, there's a place for this, and like, it's that's the one piece of equipment that I sort of always like attribute to sort of jump-starting my career in filmmaking, which is interesting, like that connection between technology and just like where you are in the industry. And so, yeah, I've been running gimbals ever since. We try to put them on cars and do car commercials with them, put them on cranes with the Ultimate Arm guys. They have a Raptor and a Porsche Cayenne with the big, booms on them, and then we hang gimbals on the front and shoot a bunch of content with that. So, like, really, we kind of do it all. Like, we try to do everything big and small and everything in between.
Well, so with Drive, what's a claim to fame that you're like, oh, did you see that one da-da-da? We did that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So, okay, so we're a full-service production company, right? And so what our company was really well known for at the time was BJ Baldwin's Recoil series, which is, like I said, the trophy truck, and it was kind of the first time that anybody's put together like a viral video about trophy trucks. And I would say that series kind of like took a life of its own, but a few of us have been on the Gymkhana series with Ken Block. Brian's been on several of them. I've been on a couple, including the last one in Mexico City. So, like, there's a lot of stuff that we've been involved in, but not necessarily, I wouldn't say it was like our project. So it's kind of hard to answer that question, because we shoot Toyo Tires commercials, which not a lot of people like see, right? But I would say that Recoil and Gymkhana is probably our claim to fame.
Have you experienced the frustration of shooting something really cool? You get hired by XYZ company, you go shoot it, but it then goes into the ether of whatever their purposes were, and you don't see it. It doesn't see the light of day.
Of course. Like, I would say, thankfully, a lot of the stuff that we do does, kind of end up out there, and we try to push it as hard as we can. But of course, as a filmmaker, like, cutting room floor, right? There's so much content that we shoot that you just don't ever get to see it, and it's so sad, because there's a lot of good bangers out there, man. There's just waiting to be seen.
Yeah, I always say I take bangers and wall hangers.
Oh, I like that. I might have to bring that one out to the field.
That's it. The bangers and wall hangers. And they're like, what's that? I'm like, you could put it on the fucking wall. It's a good looking photo.
Brought to you by Bad Beard.
That's it, baby.
Yeah. I love that.
No, it's been a lot of fun over the years, the different places we get to play and all the things we do. I'm thinking, like, I was just thinking about easy rigs. I'm thinking all sorts of stuff. But what is the future for Sasha? Like, this is a place where you come, you work because it's good to earn a buck. But I guess, like, in your industry, not a lot of union guys, right? You stay in house. It's just what's that kind of?
Yeah, there seems to be kind of like a defining line, I guess you could say, between like the union and non-union guys. And I've never like experienced union life. So that's not really a goal of mine. I guess when I was in film school, it sort of was, because I thought that was the path, but I'm not so sure it is, because there's so much work out there. There's so much work to be done, and I really, really enjoy commercial content, right? Where you're kind of out there like trying to make things work and like experimenting, but then you have like the support of the brands behind you, where it's like, go like be a creative and like make us look good, and like that's kind of where we thrive, is like, especially for Drive and in action sports and motorsports in general, is like we've been shooting trucks go fast in the dirt for such a long time that I feel like people can count on us to just show up and make sure that the job gets done. Granted that the vehicles don't break or something. That usually tends to be the problem. But I'm actually do people get to ask you a lot of questions on this show? Because you were kind of rambling some stuff off when we met. So you're a stuntman. You have a production company in Atlanta.
Production company.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, turning the tables.
If that's all right with you. I mean,
no, absolutely.
I don't like talking about
it's
myself,
funny with my show. You either already know who I am,
sure,
and so I don't need to really fill in too many blanks for you, and the conversations are pertaining to my guests.
Fair enough.
Because I'm curious.
Fair enough.
But it's often that I assume that I at some point need to reintroduce myself to my channel.
Yeah,
and
especially
let them know,
as it grows.
Yeah, that's the idea. But hit me with any questions you got, dude.
Well, okay, so when you say stuntman, I mean, I feel like that's a wide range
berth,
of yeah, exactly. So where does that?
So I was in Southern California for like 12 years. That's where I was introduced to the wonderful motorcycle space, power sports space, riding, all through that. I worked on a show called Octane Academy,
I remember Octane Academy, yeah.
Just on production.
Okay.
I was moving into being a shooter and all things, but with a company called Transition Productions. They're great. Did that. Ran my business for years, music videos, different things, whatever. Acting along the way in Atlanta as a performer, but then all my friends on the East Coast, I went to school in Orlando, and so a lot of them had just finished racing Supercross, and I kind of aged out of it. A few of them still rode, Matt Bonney and Matt Gerke, a few guys.
Name dropping.
Yeah, they're. I'm Matt Gerke. Google me. But just good buddies that that kept going, but. Guys that ended racing kind of transitioned into, because what do you do when you're done riding racing?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You have an incredible set of skills, but how do you utilize that? And it just happened to be at the time that a lot of film had moved to Atlanta. The film incentives had really blown up there, and so they all went the path of stuntman. And so while I was in pursuit of what I was on the West Coast, all my buddies were on the East Coast turning into stuntman. With Fast and Furious was fresh out of the gate. Lights, Motors, Action was a show in Orlando that they all kind of got their start on. And so I kind of watched in tandem as I slaved over here and they were working over here. And then, after a decade, they're buying, another $70,000 truck. I'm like, tell me more about the stunt business.
Yeah. I want a Raptor.
I want a Raptor, dude. But just through some life and opportunities of a lovely divorce, I said, all right, I can check out Atlanta now. And so I cruised over there. And having always had a background just in stunts and as a rider and different things, being physically inclined, I found myself as a stuntman in Atlanta.
Such a cool title.
Dude, it doesn't get cooler.
I think it's the coolest thing to be like, yeah, I'm a stuntman.
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword because right now the industry is so chaotic. Like, I could say I'm a stuntman, but, like, am I working stuntman?
Well, sometimes. I still think you claim it.
I'm claiming it, dude.
As long as you are on a call sheet that says stuntman.
Yeah, I actually shared a funny, like, those, like, random TikToks to see, like, oh, that's funny, and, like, it's a template. And it was, I'm just going to show you. Because I thought it was hilarious. It's my show. I can do what I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a contract G. When you sign one of those, it's just your time call for the day. So, like, you sign in at the end of the day and, like,
Oh, I see.
And so I just thought that was a funny meme, so I threw it on there. So many people are like, they took it serious. Because I haven't signed one of those in a while. You sign your G, you're getting paid. You're getting your breakfast burritos.
Yeah.
It's a good day. And so I threw that up there, and I thought it was hilarious. And so many people were like, hey, man, what you working on? Like, like you good? I'm like, bro, it's a joke. Calm down.
Yeah. I mean, it is a weird time in the industry, so I get it. Like, a lot of people are kind of hurting and,
Well, so what has been the impact on you? Like, the strike affected me directly, but your business seemingly probably never stopped. Different world.
Honestly, I feel really bad saying it, but we have been just getting busier.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's a different industry.
It's a completely different industry, and like I said, there is this like clear delineation between like the union guys or like the bigger Hollywood, whatever you want to call that, and then like all this commercial work that they're like. I feel like we fit in sort of right at the edge of where like the budgets are just enough to make it big, but not so much big enough to make it like union. And I don't know, and I'm not going to sit here and say I know that much about the back end of that stuff. I'm just assuming that.
How often is agency showing up on your shoot too?
Like how often are they there? Like, do we have agency on set?
Yeah. Because I feel like that would be the jump. Like that's the price point where I feel like I know where your bubbles are.
Sure.
That next one up is where they just have a seat for whatever reason because they're just watching.
Sure.
Because they got to justify their position.
I would say, like 15 to maybe 10 to 15% of our shoots we have agency,
Okay.
and obviously there's pretty much always client on set.
Yeah.
And then the agency stuff is a lot of fun because we get to just like put a monitor up, put them under an easy up, and just be like, hey, look, this is the cool stuff we get to do. And so like I said, we're kind of like in this weird, like, it just depends. Like, it might be a small-ish shoot on their side of the things, but it's like still a big shoot.
It's your bread and butter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what like truly pays the bills for the year. We work a lot on a bunch of little stuff, and that keeps, us as individuals paid and like clocking hours and that kind of stuff, but then those bigger jobs come in and it covers the overhead and it covers the insurance, like this, I'm newly a partner in this production company. Like I said, I was an employee for a long time.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm beyond stoked. It's been a great transition. So I'm learning all of these things, but the insurance is mind blowing.
Yeah.
Just the check you have to write at the beginning of the year just to be like, hey, I'd like to go work this year, please. It's like wild.
Part of my transition into the stunt business, which seems comical that was the more stable work for me, is because of the union, specifically insurance, specifically pension, like all that stuff. Because running your own business as you're learning, it's a thing. And I'm very talented in so many ways, but some of them, logistically speaking, it's not the back end business.
Sure.
Bless my poor accountant's heart, Eric, I love you. But he's just like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm good at what I do, like the business stuff. And so when I had opportunity in that regard, I was like, I want some support. But yeah, no, it's wild.
It is wild.
Chasing invoices, contracts.
It's so wild that like we got into this because of passion, and then we like have to be business people out of it. You know, it's like I just want to make cool shit.
Can I just play in the dirt?
I just want stuff to look pretty. Like, can I just do that, please? Yeah. Like, that's all I want to do. But
I get it.
It's cool. Got to pay the bills, and it's fun.
Is there a progression that you see with how you shoot? Let's call them trophy trucks. Like, is there something that like, oh, this is the new trend, the new fad? Like, you evolve it, or are you guys the ones creating the new bar?
No, I mean, honestly, that's a really good question. I feel like there's ways that we want to progress, but shooting in the desert like that is so hard on equipment. Like, for us to get, like, higher, more elevated content, we want to do, like, bigger things, like put cameras on cars and things like that. But when
we need more FPV drones.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, that is, like, a massive shift in the industry. Like, the FPV stuff is so sick.
All these teenagers just popped out of nowhere with, like, their goggles on, and they're just looking in a random direction.
I know, and they're crushing it.
They're
getting the coolest content. We have a buddy, I think his Instagram handle's Ross Has a Drone, and I think he like randomly picked one up one day. I don't want to tell his story because I don't actually know it, but
we'll call him up. Ross, you can come on my show next.
Ross, please. He has become the most incredible pilot, not just FPV, but pilot in general, and he's shooting all of these commercials, and it's so funny because we were shooting I want to say it was a CF Moto commercial last year or something like that, and he lands the drone, and we're moving on to whatever, and he just pulls out a little RC car, and he's like driving his RC. He's just like loves the RC stuff, and then it just turned into him being this like really successful commercial drone pilot, and it's super cool. Love that guy. Love you, Ross.
There was a period when drones were coming out, like the Mavic, the DJI Phantom.
Yes.
Like that was the first one. And so all the shoots I was doing, a lot of these like kind of run and gun, one-man band stuff, like, all right, like I'll go get the DJI, the Phantom. And then it's like, oh, we got to put the GoPro on it.
Yeah.
And so I've been flying drones forever. And then all of a sudden it got legitimate. And I was like, and then that's the end of me, and then you just see like a Mavic 2 fly off into the ether. You're like, oh, okay, well, that was the end of that. But it was wild seeing all these FPV drones and the smaller they got, and like, they're just like building themselves and just all of it. But then the price points that are on their ROI, and, there's a period where I'm like, dang, I should have stuck to that a little more.
Yeah, I feel like there's like
You're
two.
running around with a gimbal, and they're just sitting still.
Oh, I
probably
know.
in AC.
Oh, trust me, I'm bitter about it. I got my drone pilot's license just to like
Okay.
have it for a while
Yeah.
a few years ago, and I didn't use it enough because, like you said, there was just guys that were just so much better. And
Yeah.
it's like, the Mavic series, they're incredible tools. I feel like that's one of those things like you almost can't really even charge for anymore because they're so abundant. It's just one of those things that as a filmmaker you need to have in your toolkit.
Yeah.
But then
You need that big master, dude. That big wide.
Exactly, and most people do. And then I feel like the Inspire series, which is the big dog, where you can interchange lenses and things like that. You need two people to operate it for the most part. You have a guy like Ross flying the drone, and then somebody controlling the camera. Like, there's just such a big delineation. That's like a $20-something thousand kit.
Big jump.
Big jump.
Yeah.
But the image quality's nice. You get more control because somebody's operating the camera. So there's, I don't know, it's a weird space, and I am so bitter that I'm carrying that 25-pound camera around all day, every day.
Well, and I imagine
I
too,
could
once
just
you
be
start
sitting here.
traveling,
Yeah.
the amount of cases and all the things, and his little setup,
Yeah.
so petite,
Yeah. Yeah.
so cool. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for you, Ross.
Well, dude, and Ross, Ross is so cool. I'm such a fan. He travels for the most part set to set in his van, and everything fits in the van. He's got his charging cases all in there, and then he pulls up. He's like, "Hey, I'm drone guy." It's like, "All right, drone, you're up," and he just like lifts off and it's so cool, dude. I'm such a fan.
I was on a shoot doing this kind of free viz, it would be called.
Sure.
Not a pre-viz.
Sure.
A free viz where everybody just shows up and works for free because we're all supporting each other. And they had a drone guy that sounds like a Ross that showed up in his Sprinter, and he's just like, "I'm the drone guy," and he's like from Australia or something.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh yeah," and he just lives in his thing. And just talking about what he does, and it was just literally just that, did his thing, and he's like, "All right, see you guys."
Yep, I'm out.
Yeah.
Crushed it, by the
Good for
way.
those guys.
I crushed it for you.
Hey,
You're
did you guys see how
welcome.
good that looked?
Yeah.
I know, it was amazing, wasn't it? Okay,
Yeah,
see
you
ya.
should have seen it through my eyes because that was nice.
Yeah, I love it because it's just like they're like, bless those people struggling with fentanyl addiction.
Oh, yeah.
But they're kind of like them, where they just look in just random direction, just like.
So, but you
lean
see it,
back.
you can always, oh man, that's always the number one like meme conversation on set is the drone guy sitting like standing wide stance and just like doing this with the goggles on. It's
Yeah.
like the perfect meme generator. It's the best.
Well, dang, dude. So you're here at AIM. You're crushing it. You're going to put all this together. Are you going to go to the one show?
I think I am.
Just as an attendee?
Is that tonight?
I do
Or is
believe
that-
they have some type of party that starts here. I have information. Hey, check it out. Get 20% off the show with tickets with this code. I'll tell you guys. AIM 2025.
Sell
That's
it.
a terrible code. But yeah, I think there's a little party, a preview party tonight, and then
Oh, yes.
tomorrow, the next day, is the actual event.
I will be there. Luckily, Andre, who sort of runs this show, he's the one who brought us on. Bless his heart, is sort of like my, hey, you got to be here
Yeah.
guy, because I have like a million things going on. I'm trying to get interviews over here.
Yeah,
I'm
this
trying
is
to
on
cover
his
the
lunch,
stage.
by the way. He's being very responsible.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get to eat. I don't have a watch on, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm so
want a
glad to
beer?
be here. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you. That would be, that's exactly why I had to take the AIM show shirt off. But anyways, I got Andre's blessing. I'm good to be
Cool.
here, but I just felt guilty, like I shouldn't be stepping away if it's not on.
Well,
my
I'm
time.
excited. Like, this is how my show operates. Like, it's not a motorcycle show.
Yeah.
That's what people sometimes think. Like, they're like, "Oh, you're here at AIM. You look like that." It's a
Yeah.
motorcycle show. I'm like, it's not. It's like, I like variety's the spice of life. I think people are very interesting, and so I just have a desire to learn. And so obviously we have relative interests.
Yeah, 100%.
And so right now we're talking shop.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. No, I'm stoked to be here. I'm not really like I ride dirt bikes. I have a Husky 501. I ride trail bikes. I'm not like jump guy, like track guy. Not really like a street bike guy, but it's just so cool to see like everybody that's like honestly super passionate about it here, and everybody's like-minded people. Like, I feel like I can relate to a lot of these people because they are here because originally they liked motorcycles or power sports or whatever it is, and then that led to them having a job in the industry. And I just think that's so cool, like that whole quote about never work a day or whatever, but it's like very true here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. How do I get paid to do what I love? And some of them have figured it out.
Well, I feel like a lot of a lot of it's like, hey, I'm just gonna do what I love, and oh man, I can get paid for that.
Yeah.
That's
We're still figuring out the latter half on some of these things, but
yeah. Check the invoice department.
no kidding. Well, I won't steal much more of your lunchtime, but I am grateful to have met you. Thank you for coming on my show and sharing with all of our friends. This is the time of the show where you can talk to your camera right here. Anything you want to shout out, bring attention to, whatever, drive, doesn't matter. Your time to shine.
I feel like we've brought up Drive a lot, and I'm super grateful to be a part of that company, and I just want to say thanks to those guys a bunch, and to everybody in the industry that keeps bringing us on, because we just love doing what we do for you. I guess the other plug would be that we do have a booth here at AIM, which is super cool. My fiance Alana is running it right now, all week, and
she didn't realize she was working for Drive too.
Yeah. No, she gets plugged. So there's a plug in there for her too. But we do custom flags for off-road vehicles, and we just try to. We grew up in Glamis, and we sort of have like noticed that there was nobody making like cool flags. All the designs were like from the 80s and things like
whack.
that. Pretty whack. Like there's some cool stuff out there, but pretty whack or similar, like very like same trend. Yeah. And we just wanted to like put cool stuff on flags that people wanted to put on their
Was
on
it
their
just
cars.
like all those like big like rainbow LED things flying in the air?
Exactly. Like that has become such a massive part of like owning a UTV, because when you're out in the dunes, you have to have a flag, right? And so you might as well put a lighted whip on, and since it's become so popular, every single one of them have it. And then we were like, well, everybody's selling whips, but nobody's really selling like cool flags to go on the whips. And in our perspective, the whips were like pretty expensive. You know, they can be like $300 a set or something.
I have no idea.
Yeah, no, they can be pretty expensive, like $200 to $500 a set. And we're like, well, if people are going to spend that much on the lights, like we can probably charge, $25 a flag, especially because like a lot of people in that industry, like they own their own businesses or whatever it is. So it's like if we can provide somebody with something that they're stoked to put on their car, it's all the more to them,
Oh, look, your boss.
We have fun with it. Oh, there he is. I'm on lunch.
No, that's great. Well, I'll be sure to plug it in the corner of where to find that. But
I appreciate that.
Cheers, brother. Well, thank you.
Dude, thank you. Yeah. Awesome meeting you. Thanks for having me on.
Enjoy the show.
I will. We'll be here all week.